Hello and welcome to a silver lined relaunch. And it is one of those days where I get to highlight somebody that I have known, worked with. This is when it really gets fun for me because I know this woman, I know her journey, I know what she's been through, gone through, come through, you name it. And I am so happy to have Shona Gupta with me. She's worked for Mattel, Hertz Media. She recently launched her own beauty care line called Maharindi. Maharindi makes skincare products infused with the potency of broad spectrum CBD. We're going to talk about that one, and Vita Botanicals, which we're also going to talk about. It's inspired by Ayurveda and traditional European herbalism. Okay, she's got me here. All these names, I'm like, I am so happy I got through that. She has an MBA, she's an entrepreneur, and she is a student of anthropology. So with all of this combined, Shona, welcome to the show. This episode is brought to you by the Fired Up Entrepreneur Program. And this is a program that we are so proud of. The results have been downright remarkable. And we want to invite you to get a glimpse of what it is like inside this program by inviting you to participate in the Business Boot Camp, which is a 5-day free event, and get involved with this because the pearls that we're going to be sharing each and every day are going to be the foundation for allowing you to make money, keep the money, grow the money, and strengthen not only your business, but also yourself. So please take advantage of this and join us at our next boot camp. You're listening to the Silver Lined Relaunch, and I'm your host, Hilary DeCesar, award-winning entrepreneur and transitional coach. Each week, I'll invite you to tune into inspirational stories, revealing how you too can turn ordinary experiences into the extraordinary. Feeling stuck? I'll share step-by-step strategies to fuel your ability to experience a life where silver linings are both abundant and possible. Shona, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Hilary. It's great to be here. So fun to talk to you. I'm so excited.
Okay, so which words did I completely...
Well, let me just break it down. I think you did great, by the way. That's a lot to...
I mean, there's like 5 words in there that
I'll break it down.
Nobody uses.
I just break it down to, Maharindi, perfect. And Maha, by the way, means great in Hindi. And Indi represents the independent spirit, but Indira was also my grandmother's name. So I'm paying homage to her. Now, yeah. And so basically, Maharindi is really a CBD skincare line that harnesses 2 very powerful modalities. So I like to say it's ancient Indian wisdom meets CBD science. How's that?
I like that. Ancient Indian wisdom. And then you've got the CBD, the science behind it, which when I first tried this, the oil, the infused oil, I was like, okay, it smells very unique, very different, but like it goes on and you're just, it absorbs. It really is incredible. And so what I love doing is once I've actually tried a product, I like to talk about what makes it unique and different. And your story is something that I thought, you know what, you've been through some ultimate relaunches, but you going into the beauty space is truly the biggest relaunch of all. And I'd love for you to share, how did it happen? How did you go from high tech, you've gone from marketing, you've gone from all this to now you're like, wait a second, this is where I need to be.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. I think my trajectory has been very, very unique, but it's I'm happy to kind of share that story. I think it really goes back to 2019 in the summer where I was swimming in the Midwest. Okay, I was swimming in a lake in Madison, Wisconsin, with my son, who was probably about 10 back then. And we loved the lakes in the Midwest at that time, and happened to emerge from the lake one summer afternoon, and I had a rash on my cheek. I was like, this is kind of interesting,
It
And
happened almost instantaneously. Like you got that
yeah,
right.
I mean, I came out and then like I felt something, and then like literally I had like a reaction to something. I don't know what. But around this time, take yourself back to 2019 in the summer. There's a lot of buzz about CBD and topical CBD. And so I happened to just hop on my bike and go down to the local co-op. And that's where I picked up some topical CBD. And I
Okay,
thought, you know what?
for those that don't know, CBD is not THC. Can you walk us through a little bit? I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you,
I'll get there.
like
I'll get there.
everyone out there to know what she's really doing here.
Yeah. No, I'll get there. I'll get there. I'll just finish the story and then I'll come back and kind of go through the CBD aspect. But long story short, yes, I tried CBD, which didn't have any THC. So there you go. So I wasn't going to get a high from rubbing this on my face. It was purely meant to kind of calm a rash. And so I like to call this the rash that started a revolution. So that's my little phrase. So lo and behold, I was blown away by the efficacy. This stuff worked. My rash had calmed down, it had subdued. But here's what I remember: I did not love the ritual of it. I didn't love the smell. I didn't love the skincare. Like it just kind of was like, oh, granted, I just like picked up something at a co-op and it didn't spend a lot of money on it. But I was like, there's something here, and I was really fascinated by that. And so fast forward to the fall of 2020, I kind of got to work and I really started to kind of, me, you both of us, we dive into things, right? And so I was like, okay, let me learn everything I can about this and realize that, wouldn't it be interesting to kind of like elevate the skincare, ritual side of things. And so wouldn't it be cool to think about what skincare was like in my family? And my grandmother from India lived with us for many years. And so I started to kind of think of some of the ingredients that she used, back in the day. And I thought, what if I was to pull in some of, the ancient Indian wisdom, I call it, but it's really, rooted in Ayurveda, and pull that in and combine that with the science behind CBD. So I got to work and found a manufacturer in Irvine, and that's how Maharindi was born.
So let's talk about Ayurveda. I'm sure,
Yeah,
did I just mess it up again?
Ayurveda.
Okay.
Um,
But let's talk about that and the fact you do have absolutely gorgeous skin. Is that something that you've always had? Is it based on what you've been putting on your skin over the last couple of years? Tell us a little bit more about that.
actually, and again, me, I'm quite a tomboy. In fact, for a long time, I really didn't pay attention to my skin, and I'm uh, very much an outdoors person. So I I actually was very bad in terms of like sun protection. So I have tons of freckles, but I've embraced them. I do think it's a combination of genetics, but also, just tons of drinking water, and in the morning drinking warm water with lemon and things like that, staying hydrated. And then, looking at ingredients like amla, which is Indian gooseberry. And so I mean, I'd say for me, Ayurveda has kind of come into my life, here and there. And what's interesting is my mother was really a very busy, professional. She was a psychologist and she had all her patients. And she was the woman who like literally just was like, okay, oil of Olay, Nivea, Bonds. Like she skipped all of that. And so I'd say for me, I'd say I reacquainted myself with Ayurveda when I lived in India after college. I don't know if you know this fun fact, but I taught in a village. I taught English in a village in South India in Kerala. And so
When
that
when did you do that?
I did that after college many years ago.
Oh, that is so great.
Yeah.
That is
And
so amazing.
what's also amazing is many people will know this woman, but I taught for a woman named Mary Roy, who is a real, she was a real feminist in India, and her daughter is Arundhati Roy, and she's a very well-known Indian author and activist. So it was a very kind of meaningful time in my life. And that's one of the reasons why actually Maharindi gives back. And we have partnered with Room to Read, and we give a percentage of our proceeds back to Room to Read, which empowers girls and adolescent girls to stay in school in Asia and in Africa. So that was a little,
Yeah. You know what? Again, it's the giving back. Now, when you started to realize that, hey, this is what I want to do, I want to figure out the CBD side of it, and what kind of results are you getting? Because I know now thousands of people are using it. They're all loving it. It's incredible. But what results? It's very different than just the traditional, hey, wrinkle cream, all these different, it really has some unique benefits that the others
yeah.
don't.
Well, I'd say again, like, I can't make claims, but what I can tell you is,
You
uh,
can't, but I can.
you can, I know, but we did get a tremendous amount of press, when we launched, and we launched during the pandemic, which is also exciting because, again, as my background in technology, I was able to really kind of spin up an e-commerce site and tap into the partners that I know in the e-commerce ecosystem, like Klaviyo, Yotpo, you name it. Anyways, so we did have kind of I'd call it a soft launch, but the press really loved the product. So we were in People, Glamour, Pop Sugar. Bobbi Brown features us in her gift guide. And here's what they love. They love the Change Maker, which is the serum. And they also love the
Okay,
Believer.
by the way, I love Changemaker. Your names are fantastic.
Thank you, thank you.
Fantastic. And then
Thank
you're
you.
about to say another name as well.
Yeah, the Believer, which is the moisturizer. And what I realized is, I wanted something for the busy mom or the busy woman or the busy man, just instead of kind of going through this 12-step ritual, wouldn't it be interesting to just have like, a couple of products that really got you the results that you needed? And so, I feel like, that's been part of it. And these products, as you mentioned, they are rich in phytobotanicals, which is a trademark thing that I came up with. And that combines vitamin C, vitamin B, uh, gosh, like tons of vitamins. I can't even, E, and then cranberry and
A
grapeseed oil.
full
Yeah,
vitamin splurge. It's like
yeah,
whew, everything.
yeah, yeah. And then, and then I also kind of tap into some of the traditional ingredients like bergamot, lemon, ylang ylang, fennel, lavender. And so all of these things together, the CBD it's anti-inflammatory. So that's huge. So people find that it's very moisturizing, anti-inflammatory. And then there's something called the cannabinoid effect, where if you're having an issue, that CBD will like literally go to the spot that needs help. So I do have people who have written to me who've suffered from, eczema, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is amazing," So again, it's really wonderful to kind of see, hear about these results, and I also think for me at least, the brand, we like to say you've got that Maha glow, and so it's really, I want to emphasize it's not about, like, looking ageless and never aging, right? But it's really also about, the inner beauty, which we call in Hindi tej, and kind of inner beauty and outer beauty together.
I also love the idea that you don't hear often about Indian products as much. You hear about some of the oils, but what you've really done is put everything together in this incredible product line. And again, love the names, think that that's incredible, but more importantly, I love what it does. How are you bringing back into your who you are at your soul with diversity inclusion? How are you doing that? Because that's another part of this that I just admire you so much for doing.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think one of the things I found was early on when I was kind of starting to think about doing the product, and I was talking to a few people, and I talked to a potential investor who didn't actually invest, but he was very puzzled, and he was like, "Huh, Indian beauty, what's that?" And I was like, "What?" And it really made me dig my heels in, and I thought to myself, "Wow, we can have K beauty, Korean beauty." Indian beauty is definitely on the map. If you just look at your Instagram feed, or it's really amazing. There's this huge surge in women reclaiming and just talking about brown beauty, and I love that. And
Mm.
again, I didn't grow up with that, so I think that to me is very special. And you see people like Padma Lakshmi, and gosh, there's just like so many women out there now, Mindy Kaling, all these people who are really making a difference in entertainment and politics and beauty, you name it, right? So I thought to myself, it would be really great to have make our mark in the CBD skincare market, and have, why not, if we can have Kana Lit, which is a Korean brand, why can't Maharindi take a seat at the table too? And so you're right, I am.
I remember when we first talked about this, and you were challenging the fact that, like, what is really out there, and I love brown beauty, and
Yeah.
what and what's your role going to be in it. And I remember you saying that you don't want to just bring what everyone else is doing or what the limited products are doing. You want to bring that additional CBD, which, as you said, it's for inflammation, which we all have in our bodies, right? Some form of it, and
Mhm.
allow that to impact not only the outer beauty but the inner beauty. And I think that you've done such a great job with that. Are you finding that it's really being well received right now? Has there been this kind of boom that's taken place over the last couple of years with Indian beauty?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at stats, the Ayurvedic market is exploding. So I think it's supposed to be like a $16 billion market by 2026. And you've got, there's a great brand out there called Live Tinted that just made it into Ulta. There's another great brand called Kulfi, which does these amazing eyeliners. So, I mean, I'm looking around at what's happening, and it's very inspiring. So I definitely see the future. The future is bright there. And I think for me, there's a spirit of inclusivity when it comes to beauty, right? So I think, again, I'm looking at the traditions in my family as a starting point, but I'd like to say it's, we're celebrating, India and Indian women, but as well, there's, the important thing is it's also, it's not just an Indian brand, it's not just a CBD brand, but it's really a natural brand, and all of those things combined.
And it's for every single skin type out,
Yeah,
which is great.
absolutely. Yeah.
And you and I've talked about, philosophy that we have, which is, it's not, when you get down to the core of what people are, and we're all energy. I would like to talk to you because I know you've always been a big fan of putting out there what you ultimately want to have come back to you. And what is and I know some people call it manifestation, some people call law of attraction. What would you say is really what you're trying to put out there, and what your goal is on what's going to come back in this business for women, for, brown beauty, white beauty, black beauty? You got all the beauties, right? What are you really hoping for?
Gosh, I think, obviously, I want to continue this journey and really have Maha, boom, and, maybe be a household name someday. That's great. But I think more than that, really, kind of for my own self, I have my gratitude journal. I wake up and I do write that every day. And I think, with Maharindi also kind of, having more women and men just kind of embrace their own inner beauty, and just be you, right, at the same time. So it's that, I feel like, again, I love the fact that, I'm very much into nature, et cetera. So I think that's part of it. But we live in this like crazy chaotic society, and oftentimes I live in LA too, so sometimes everyone's pushing you, to try this or try that. And I think let's just be authentic. We want, I think I just want women, and men who want, authentic, natural, simple products that make an impact and do good.
And you know what? You've always been that way. And when you and I worked years ago on,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, now it really has been years and years ago.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, when you look at what you're doing now to put out there what you are going for, right? Do you have a certain way that you said you journal? You say, you've got a gratitude practice. Is there, I know you and I have worked together, and I have, helped kind of get you into that feeling of like being, not just thinking but feeling your way into the future, right? And we even
Yeah.
some call it, that future gratitude.
Hmm.
Can you share with us how you're bringing things into your life these days?
Yeah, I mean, I think for myself, as many entrepreneurs feel this, there's often that you spiral, right? And you start thinking of the negativity and like, oh my gosh, this, that, and that. So I do really try to reprogram and realign myself. I'm constantly, and some days I have a bad day, and the next morning I'll wake up and, I'll kind of pivot and, remember, hey, gosh, Hillary and I went through this, this, and this back in the day. I think that's one of the things we forget. Some of the obstacles that we encounter along the way. It's, again, you probably, like myself, I always want to kind of block things out. But in a way, I think it makes us stronger, right? So I like to kind of sometimes reflect and take a moment and think, you know what, I went through this like 5 years ago, I can do it again. Or, so I'm constantly, that fear of failure is obviously there, but I think really, we learn from our failure too.
And you know what? A lot of times when you are failing, they talk about fail forward. We talk about fail upwards, right? Just keep,
Yeah.
each time realize it's another step in the right direction to make
Yeah.
you realize that you don't have to go back and redo what you've already done. It didn't work, move on, try something new. And it's actually something very positive that comes
Yeah. And I think you taught me that whole thinking up, like don't think down, think up, right?
up. It's like, fail upward. It's just take that step. And if it's not the right step, then you'll go a couple steps back, but then you just keep going forward, and you don't have to keep redoing it when you realize and you accept it and you don't try to avoid it. Right.
Right.
So
Right.
at this point, what would you say, as I'm, kind of, I loved when I read about your anthropology. How are you incorporating that now into what you're doing?
Again, it's to me, it's kind of culture, it's all of those things. So again, thinking about the women who have inspired me in my life, my upbringing, India, all of those things together. So I think I am a student of culture and anthropology. Those were my early days. But then I came to LA and did my MBA, and I studied under Peter Drucker, for instance. So I think all of that combined together is,
It's just amazing. I think back at what you've gone through, your teachings, who you've studied under. And Peter Drucker, one of the significant Silicon Valley high tech guys that you've really learned from, the very best. And now you are going out there. You decided to go from a profession that you knew incredibly well and put yourself out there to learn. You are an avid learner. I've always known that about you. And now you are embracing and getting yourself, you're like a warrior going out there in the beauty world, right? Where there's a lot of different products. But I really think that at this point, you have tapped into something that is new, is different. And in the beauty industry, that's hard to do. And so I have such great admiration. That's one of the reasons I wanted you on the show. Now, when I always ask this at the end when I'm talking to people, what is your favorite beauty product? How relevant for you? Which one is truly the one that you're like, if I were to say, which one do you start with that's really going to make an impact?
Well, I'm gonna just say, the change maker. And here's the actual bottle. There you go.
Yeah.
You can see
Yeah.
it.
Look at that. Love
And again, you just, to get that Maha glow, I love it. It's just, you only need a couple of drops and you can use it in the morning after you get out of the shower. You can use it at night and combine it with the moisturizer.
So do you actually combine it? Do you put it in, like you drop it into your moisturizer, or do you put it straight on the face and then you put your moisturizer on?
Some people I know actually take them, the serum and combine it with the moisturizer. And this is the moisturizer. It's called the Believer. But I personally, I've done that in the past, but I like to layer. But in the morning, I'll do this, and then there's no SPF, so you got to put your sunscreen on after, or a tinted foundation, or whatever you use. So yeah. And again, I just, it's fun because I literally remember kind of coming up with the formulation with the chemist. And then one of my good friends is a well-known LA artist, and we happened to, be traveling with my son, and I literally made her smell all the different kind of, variations. And like, we finally landed on the bergamot scent.
So good.
So I love the scent. Yeah. And it's, and for people who've actually tried, CBD skincare products, they can often smell a little bit. So that you don't get any of that.
No, you really don't. That's why I really like it. That's why I said it's unusual, but in such a great way. And then you put it with the bergamot, and it's great. I really love it. Okay, so last but not least, what does Powerhouse of Possibility mean to you?
Ooh, Powerhouse of Possibility. I like that. Gosh, I mean, the world is your oyster, really. Like, let's do this. Anything is possible. I mean, again, you have to really put your mind to it. But it's not just that, it's also setting that intention, I think, and that's what I remind myself also is, again, getting rid of, what do we call them? The bugs.
Yep. You got it. Those beliefs underground surfacing, no doubt.
You got to squash those, and just I try to really be forward thinking. And hey, whatever happens, happens. And I just know there's something really freeing about doing a business later in life too. I think because I can be unapologetically me at the end of the day. And I think I definitely love relaunch and what you're putting out there, because hey, at the end of the day, women like myself, I mean, why not at this stage in our lives? Why not? Right. So and I think
no more BS. This is who we are. Yeah. And you can squash your bugs, you can really move past your limiting beliefs, and then everything is possible.
Yeah.
So cool. And you've done it. And I'm so happy for you. And where can people find your products? Where can they order some? What's the best place?
Yeah, it's just, the easiest thing is just go type in Maha Glow, www.maha, M-A-H-A glow, Glow, and that'll take you to my site. And follow us on Instagram at Maharindi, and all that fun stuff.
And let's all get that Maha glow.
You already got it, Hillary. You got it.
I love it. It's awesome. Well, thank you, Shona. I loved having you. I love what you're doing. I think what you're doing for everyone with the products, the natural infusion of all of these different worlds with the science behind it. It's cutting edge. It's where we're going. It's where we need to go. So thank you for putting it together.
Thank you, Hillary, and thank you for inspiring us all and helping us along this crazy journey.
You take care, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Silver Aligned Relaunch. If I said something today that resonated with you, will you please head over to iTunes right now and leave us a 5-star review? and share this episode with others and help them find the silver linings as well. And don't forget, you can have immediate access to the show notes, any giveaways, and the links to those amazing beauty products at therelaunchco.com/podcast. Until next time, there's always a silver lining, and now is the time to hit the reset button to relaunch those transitions into transformations.